Welcome in. We are halfway through our 12 days of watercolor Christmas ornaments in the month of November. If you are a fan of folk art or naive art, and I will explain what that means a little bit later if you're not familiar with it. If you like folk art, this one's for you. I just think it's wonderfully whimsical and playful, and I hope you do too. You can choose whichever colors you like. I've got a navy, a red, and a cobalt blue, but you choose whichever you'd like. To start off with, it's very simple. We are going to just draw 3 triangles, and I'm doing mine wobbly, and you're welcome to use rulers if that is how your brain works. You can make the triangles kind of touching the middle one, coming off of it a little bit, whatever you'd like. But I've just decided to do 3 triangles next to one another, varying sizes. And this next step might seem a little pointless to you, but I'm going to lighten my lines. But I just wanted to draw them dark enough so that they could be picked up by the camera. But I'm just taking my kneaded eraser and going to lighten my lines a little bit. Sometimes I do this and think, why did I just do that? Because I'm not a person who minds seeing the lines of my sketch or whatever that I start out with. But I did it, and here we go. I am coming in with my first triangle. Like I said, it's kind of a navy blue color, I'm calling it. I mixed together out of my Paul Rubens palette some Prussian blue and some coal black to get a really nice dark navy blue color. I really like that. I see, when I look at folk art, I see a lot of reds and blues, whether it's navy or more of a cobalt or a light blue. And for this red out of my palette, this is called Scarlet Red. And it was kind of funny as I was doing this, I thought, oh, this is looking a little nautical, or you might think maybe it's looking patriotic if you're in a country that your flag colors are red, white, and blue. But I really do like the final result of our painting, especially once I add the cobalt blue. And I decided for each of my trees that 1 coat of paint was plenty because I had enough pigment on my brush in ratio to my water. So it just was saturated enough for me and bold enough for me. So I liked it. And this last color is called Cobalt Blue right out of the palette. No need to mix it with anything. And I really like all those colors together. Giving that a dry. I hope you know when I'm drying, I really speed it up quite a bit, but make sure these are nice and dry before you come in with your gel pen. I'm just using a Jelly Roll size 10 gel pen. And as you can see, I'm just putting little, like tally marks, they look like little vertical lines throughout that Christmas tree. And for my red tree, just doing a straight-ish line down the middle-ish of the tree. Feel free to be as precise or as whimsical as you'd like with these. You know, I love me some whimsy, so we're just going with it. And obviously you can see I'm just doing some diagonal lines off of that center line on either side of the tree. And they're not matching up perfectly, and that is quite all right. To me, that just adds to the whimsy and the character of the piece. And then for our final tree, I decided to just do horizontal lines, keeping it very simple. And I love the look. I love all 3 of them together, and this just reminds me of what we call naive art. And you can see I'm just using a black pen with 1 little straight line for the trunk. And I'm going to I'm going to paint in my background with a sky blue, and I'm being somewhat careful around the trees, but not too careful because I am going to outline the trees with my white gel pen. One of my favorite definitions, actually this kind of combines a couple different definitions of naive art. Some people call it outsider art, and I really like how it says it's characterized by childlike simplicity or childlike innocence to lighten reality and turn ordinary into something enchanting. I just thought that was pretty sweet. What I'm doing here is, while that sky is still wet, I just brought in a clean wet brush and I'm pulling you can tell very subtly, I'm pulling some of that color down for the snow. And I'm giving everything a good dry and doing a second coat of the sky just to kind of somewhat even it out, but it doesn't have to be completely even because the sky isn't always, is it? And then again with a damp brush coming in and pulling down some of that color for some more interest and variation in the snow. Just touching up a little bit there. And I didn't show it, but I did dry this completely as I come back in for some finishing touches. And at this point, I'm just going to outline my trees with the same white gel pen and just makes them pop against the sky a little bit, doesn't it? And I'm decided to add some snow. You can add stars, whatever you'd like, but I'm adding snow to the sky because I do love winter and I do love snow. We haven't seen any where I am. I'm very jealous if any of you are watching from the Denver, Colorado area. My sister-in-law sent me a gorgeous picture of snow in their backyard. I love it. But there you have it. Our little snowy scene, add in a couple more little snowflakes, if you will. And then I've got a little bit of very watered down sky blue on my brush. And I'm just kind of painting in some shadows under the trees, leaving some white spaces as you can see. And I think that's just a nice little, very subtle, but good finishing touch. And isn't she sweet? I do think this really fits the naive art definition. It's childlike, there's an innocence, to me, there's just a purity that comes with folk art and naive art. And there is some controversy of whether things are folk art or naive and whatnot. I use them both interchangeably a little bit, trying not to offend, but maybe I'll come up with my own name for my style of art, whatever that is. And there she is in our little frame that we've been using throughout this series. All right, I hope you have fun with this. If you try it, let me know. Tell me what colors you use. And I hope that you will stick around. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you can join us for the rest of the series. I'm looking forward to sharing with you what I've got planned for day 7. So until then, take care.